I'm not going to discuss that.
Praise the Lord. We're alive. We'd like to welcome you to the Black USA Morning Show. We have the one and only. Let me tell you, this lady is an author. She's got 67 books on the market. It's not 67?
Almost. You know what?
Almost 67. Huh?
I have 8 on the market, but I have on my computer that I have actually started. Some of I finished actually. I'm waiting for, you know, to put them out one at a time, but I have 12 more, actually 13 more on my computer. So I've actually started or finished 2021.
Show off. So, look, do you think I could make it in Annapolis, like as a delegate?
I think you could because you're not afraid to speak out, speak up, and speak long. Um, you might take some white folks off, some of the white Republicans off, but as a matter of fact, I think it'd be good. I really
Hmm.
do. I think it'd be good because you understand what's happening. You don't mind speaking up and speaking out about what's happening, and you don't mind speaking your truth. And that's a whole lot that's missing in Annapolis. You have a lot of individuals going to Annapolis who want to be seen, or want to say honorable this, or delegate this, or senator this. Or when they go to events, they're recognized. Here comes delegate so and so, or here comes the honorable whoever, and have a seat reserved on the front row of whatever event is going on. But when they get in Annapolis and introduce bills, well, they actually don't introduce bills that will do any good for the community. They will introduce bills that's easy to get through, just to say, well, I uh, got 4 bills passed or 3 bills passed. And what is that? Yeah, that's to put a candy store or a candy cone. You know, they sugarcoat things that need to be done. And when the hard bills are there, something that's going to actually help the black community or help women or sex trafficking or a bill that you need to put in to go against the norm for individuals who are in the healthcare industry and nobody's speaking up for them. So those type of things people shun away from.
Who did you tell me took you under their wing?
Hattie Harrison and Ruth Kirk.
Ruth.
I followed those 2 ladies around like you wouldn't believe my first year. I did absolutely nothing because I knew nothing. And I knew that I knew nothing. And I followed them around. Ruth Curry helped me fill out the financial disclosure. I mean, simple things like that. She said, no, 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 sweetheart. You don't want to say that. What you want to say is blah, blah, blah. And you don't want to do so and so. You want to do such and such. And Hattie, girlfriend, make sure that you do this and you do that. And so many people ran up against me because I was new. And not only but I was new, but I spoke out,
They ran against you.
ran up. I don't say ran against me.
They gave you
Pushed.
problems
Right, right.
because you were
What
new.
Because I was new, and I knew that I was new, but they knew that I was new. So a freshman, as they called me, I was a freshman, and because I was a freshman, uh, they could talk me into going with certain bills or certain things, especially Republicans. And Hattie, I wouldn't do anything until I asked Hattie. As a matter of fact, I had inherited Ruth Kirk's old
Office.
office. Yeah, and she left a bottle of wine in the refrigerator for
I
me.
thought it was going to be beer. I thought she had the 6-pack waiting there.
He said homemade wine,
Homemade, the hooch.
homemade
Mm.
wine in my refrigerator. Um, and I would go and sit in Hattie's office or sit in Ruth's office, and not only that, when we were some of the times when we couldn't come back to Baltimore, I stayed in one hotel and Hattie stayed in another one. I would go down to her hotel and spend Sundays with her, sitting there listening to how things used to be and even how she grew up. So, and I included that in my book, Through It All. I included information about Hattie and about Ruth and about a person that they really don't talk much about from City Hall, Gloria Luster. What Hattie and
Who was Gloria Luster?
that's my point. What Hattie and Ruth did for me statewide in Annapolis, that's what Ruth did for me with City Hall. Ruth used, not Ruth, but
Gloria
Gloria
Luster.
Luster in City Hall. Uh, she's one of the old schools. And when she retired and I first started in business, she sat with me, or I sat with her, learning how to do business through City Hall. She actually walked me through City Hall. We walked in the door, and they, hi, Miss Gloria, you know, and she carried me through the library there and how to look at what's needed, you know, the type of services that things that are needed and how to access them and who to go to and who to avoid. Uh, and nobody knows that about Gloria Luster.
I wonder. So is she still around?
I don't know. It's been years since I talked with her.
I wonder, do our young people at City Hall have that today?
Of course, they do not. And I know they don't because when Stephanie was mayor, she put together a minority advisory group with Bob Wallace and Lance Lucas and Barbara Robinson and some other people. There were 25 of us. Nobody knew anything about Gloria Luster, you know, and we spent a year going through things at City Hall, talking with the individuals there who do have contact with minority businesses and also with minority businesses that wanted to do business with City Hall. They didn't know anything about Gloria Luster.
So you just gave me two topics. So let me go back to the City Hall piece. I have shared with Councilman John Bullock that there needs to be a manual for new city council people. And I was also saying that former city council people should help formulate this manual, because my understanding is when they go to City Hall, that's it. That's their education. No class,
nothing. As a
no
matter of
weekend
fact,
retreat, no introduction to the Constitution.
when I was in business,
no history.
under Star Associate Inc., and Sheila was mayor, they contracted, well, she did, contracted with my company, Star Associates Inc., and we took the city council people on a retreat to do exactly that, to go through
The
team
basics.
building, right? The basics. And I don't know if they've done that since. And we talked about
how do you not train the next cadre of city council representatives? Because what I've gathered is the astute ones, the ones who were good at studying, they're going to find out. The ones who are not good at, say, the traditional studying, somebody's going to have to tell them. But either way, that means a period of time, however long or short, that we have uninformed city council people.
That's right. And not only do you have uninformed, you have those who are easily intimidated. Anytime that I go to the polls and elect you to represent me, and you are too egotistical to come to a town hall meeting that we scheduled in order to hear how you are representing me, I got an issue with that. You know, how can you decide that you're not going to attend when if it were not for me and my vote, you wouldn't be there in the first place?
If you're talking about Fox's town halls, people on the city council, other than Izzy Schleifer, who came out and spoke with Fox 2 days ago, he broke this quote unquote wall of silence. Fox got a way of coming up with some terms, but he's the only one I think Robert Stokes talked to them briefly, but I'm concerned when our elected officials take a collective approach to a media outlet, or so say they don't like Fox,
Right.
then form your own town hall.
Absolutely. I don't care if it's with Fox, Bear, Gorilla, whoever it is. The people are the ones that should be hearing your agenda, and you listening to their agenda. And how are you going to implement my agenda? Because I'm the one that put you there. And if I didn't need you in Annapolis, I wouldn't have gone to the polls to vote for you.
What does it say when Izzy Schleifer is the only one of 14 council people who will sit down and talk to the media? Is it okay for them to say Fox is bad, Fox is the devil, the mayor's not dealing with Fox, and neither am I? Or is that cowardice?
Excuses are tools of incompetence used to build monuments of nothing. And that's exactly what they are. They are excuses because I don't intend to be accountable for my actions. I don't intend to listen to what you have to say because I am this great I am. And as I said, you only wanted to show up when there's photo op. Whenever there's a picture to be made of a groundbreaking of things that are going on in the community where you're going to get on Channel 11 and Channel 12 or Channel 45, you're there. But whenever there's work to be done, you aren't there because a lot of them don't know.
Excuses are tools of the incompetent.
Excuses are tools of incompetence.
Of incompetence.
Used to build monuments of nothing.
I'm going to create Be More News is going to do a town hall, and we'll see if they show up for that. Yeah. And look, hey, we just want some answers, but I think it's very pathetic. Well, first of all, Fox is really, they're overreaching, and while they keep showing that video with the young mother,
come on now.
over and over
and over.
That's where I'm mad at the black people who work at Fox. Yeah. That's enough.
Yeah.
Enough already. Right. You made your point. Right. It's like overkill.
Yes.
Okay, right. Here's another thing about Fox. They talk about the squeegee kids. They talk about the squeegee kids all the time. Are any of these squeegee kids white?
Hello.
No, they black.
That's right.
And they got video even of a fight somewhere around the harbor.
That's right.
Question. Have you, Senator Robinson, seen these white addicts trekking in the black community?
If they would just come down on Pennsylvania and Lawrence Street. And when I say that, and I know what I know for sure, is that there are white addicts down there because I have a house on Lawrence, right on the corner of Lawrence and Pennsylvania Avenue, like 3 doors from Lawrence. It's on Lawrence Street, 500 block of Lawrence Street. We, and the bully, as you call her, asked her how many times has she had to run white addicts from in our backyard.
So does Fox not hear when the community, I thought they served the community, they got black people on there, including the little pretty lady in the morning, so they know black people. They know the difference between black people and white people. Is it that they only see the squeegee kids? Are they ignoring the white addicts that I'm chasing out my alley, chasing out of vacants, so they don't burn it down, dropping needles everywhere?
That's right. And not only that, going there and using it as a bathroom, defecating. You
ain't got to tell me. I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does Fox not see this?
Yeah, they don't, because they turn their head. Like the same way that they did in Annapolis when they came to Annapolis and going to photograph Joan Carter Conway. and Barbara Robinson not listening to another black woman, you know,
Oh, I forgot about
and kept
that.
showing it. Now this is a white man sitting next to me. There, another white woman sitting next to him, getting up, but absolutely nothing is shown of them. Not only that, they put a camera behind me, standing behind me, going to take whatever I'm doing and say that I'm multitasking. That's the way you run an office, multitask. But they were not looking at the one next to me who was doing the exact same thing. Because if you're sitting in a committee all day, in order for you to communicate with your constituents and with your office, you got to multitask. You know, yeah. They don't see, they only see
They
black.
paint the story how they want to paint it.
That's exactly right. That's
And that's
exactly
why
right.
we need our black media. So
And when I went on, when I contacted them and told them, no, I'm not going out like this, they showed that one time. They showed that one time. But they
oh,
kept,
see, let me tell you about a bully. Bullies travel in packs quite often. But you know what I learned over there on Moreland Avenue and Baker Street? Just slow walk them. You gonna catch him by himself.
what's on Morley Avenue and Baker Street?
Moreland and Baker. That's where I grew up. Ran the corner for Senator Troy Braley. He was the
Okay.
first senator that I met.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
talking about slow walking. When they with their boys, they do a lot of, but you catch them by themselves,
That's right.
then you see what they made of. On that note, salute to all of the veterans who have served our country here and gone.
Absolutely. My daughter, my father, my aunt, my uncle, my stepfather, my biological father, all of the above who actually made a difference and went to fight for us. So, and my husband, my late husband, yeah,
That's the one from Morgan.
when I met at Morgan, yeah, coming from Morgan.
Did you ever write that story, The Greatest Love Story?
That's in which one of my books? It's in my book, And Still I Cry. It's also part of one of the books I had, Love. What is here it is.
There you got 1,700 books. How one person writes 1,700 books?
And they're not no
And
small
they ain't
book.
no skinny books either.
You see, you're absolutely right. This is,
Well, I got a skinny book. Go ahead, show your book.
yeah, this is it.
Yeah, I got a skinny book. Because people don't read, right? All of them pages and people don't even read. People want audio. You know, going back to excuses. Hey, Doug, this my man out in Oakland is watching the show, Art Blackshirt. Excuses are tools of incompetence used to build monuments of nothing. Who'd you
That's
get
right.
that from?
I don't know, somewhere in high school, we had different uh, sayings or slangs or inspirational quotes. I have a book out, the one that's mind bungee jumping. That's 2,000 motivational quotes. And I'm doing another one. That's one of the books that I'm doing now, Life's Lessons. Uh, and I'm going to release that when I get up to 5,000 quotes. And I'm already up to 4,600 and something.
And these all came from your Uncle Willie.
No, they came from different people, actually. You know, they came from Uncle Willie. They came from my grandma. And they came from, I've met people on the plane or on the train when I've gone for on book signing tour and struck up conversation. Like one woman was there and she was reading something, and I said, "Would you like to read a good book?" And she says, "Yeah." So I gave her one of mine, and so we started talking. And she lives in Philadelphia, so she started sending me some things that she was collecting as well. I have some quotes from Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, from so many different people, Toni Morrison. I just have a lot of different quotes. I love to write, and I write Oh,
I
I
love to
do.
write too. You ain't the
I,
only one.
I get up in the morning, and sometimes I just get up and I just put on a house coat. And I come in and I sit at the computer and I write all day. I'll stop and have lunch sometimes. Sometimes I don't stop until around maybe 3 and get something and then go right back. Because it's almost like, and sometimes it's like you're possessed. I don't feel, and then sometimes I get up and I don't go near the computer at all.
You have to.
I don't, I write like I feel. And then I may work on one book today, and I might not touch that book again until next week. I write what I feel.
Why don't more of us write? One of the biggest challenges in running a newslet is trying to get people to write. Everybody wants to do a show.
Hmm.
Very few people want to write. I'm even, and I'll say it right here, I'm going back to finish up my master's. But
And I'm going back to finish up my PhD.
part of my
I've
mission
already,
is to find and
I-
build,
yeah,
outbuild new writers. Because without writers, everybody wants to do a show. Everybody does the television, the
right.
screen,
Because it's easy to talk.
but
And a lot of people,
this pen,
right,
this starts and ends wars.
that's true. It's easy to sit up there and dialogue, but it's hard for you to sit there and put your thoughts on paper and make them sound the way that you want them to sound. You know, um, and then a lot of people who can talk uh, are not educated. They have great minds, and they can talk a good game, but they don't know how to put it on paper.
And then what's this thing about not everybody's made for college? Yesterday, day before, no, it's day before, I'm coming up Pennsylvania Avenue. Now I see a cat popping a wheelie, but it wasn't a dirt bike. It was a 10-speed bike with no front wheel. He rode a wheelie all the way down and then came back. But we have people who say not everybody made for college. If you have the intellectual capacity to fathom of riding a two-wheel bicycle with one wheel, with one hand, up and down the street, narrowly missing cars,
Hmm.
then you can sit your hind parts in this GED class or whatever class and learn some math and writing and reading.
You
When
know,
you think about our ancestors, let me get this one point in. How many times have you heard the story of our ancestors learning to read by candlelight?
that's right.
Because for Black people to know how to read or write was punishable by
That's
death.
right. By
And
death.
then you have a moron come
Yes,
and say to you today, making excuses,
that's right. That's right.
tools of incompetence used to build. Our ancestors did a whole lot with a lot less.
That's right.
What is wrong with us today?
That's right. I taught in prison for 7 years, and it's interesting that you would say that individuals said that there were a number of people. Well, I just was not made for college. Oh, I wasn't made for school. One young man
But you were
said that.
made to stand on a corner.
That's right. One man said that when I was a deputy administrator of the Supreme Bench. I started a group there, a program there where we would bring in, and that's when I left, they stopped that, but bringing in people, ex offenders, to train them to do work, other than standing on the corner. One young man could neither read nor write, but he could take a radio apart, almost blindfold,
I
and put it
got
back
you.
together.
I
And
got
put
you. Now
You know,
imagine if you add on a little reading and writing.
that's right. That's
Imagine
right.
that. Then you
That's
got a
right.
Walmart. Then
That's
you got
right.
a General Electric.
Yeah,
Stop giving me BS excuses. You know what I mean?
right. Right.
When I used to complain to my dad as a young boy about white people, you know what my dad said?
Mm.
Hey, Doug, I know you got the link. Come on in and ask your own question. My dad would say, y'all ain't ready for this. Because he was a thinking man, made me think. He said the first person you need to be mad at is that African king. He said that greedy ass African king who sold you in the first place.
I say the first person that you should be mad at is yourself.
For getting caught.
No, for not doing your own inside. Everything that you need in order to be motivated to do anything is already inside of you. If it were not, then I wouldn't be sitting here. Because when I look at where I came from, and there are so many of those out there just like me, but they're using it as excuses. Well, I came from this dysfunctional family, or my mama was on drugs, or my daddy abused me, or we didn't have food, or we didn't do this. And all of these are excuses for people to feel sorry for you. A lot of folks enjoy having a pity party. Because when you have a pity party, then folks can say, oh, don't worry about her. She had it hard, or she had it bad. Oh, give me a freaking break. I'm sorry. I can't accept that. And I don't accept that. I don't accept people on welfare telling me that they are on welfare because they couldn't do any better. I was there. I was on welfare. I was in the projects. I was in the streets. So I don't accept that. I don't accept that. Because if this little black gal from Alabama can do it, who open her refrigerator and you got a bottle of water in there, and that bottle of water is a milk bottle of water, don't tell me what you can't do.
I saw a lady yesterday on the corner of Pennsylvania and MLK. It was a black lady. It was a white man. The white man was very comfortable being a bum on that corner. The black lady, you could tell she was struggling. But there's a difference. There's a difference even in the bumming. Because the white people quite often come into the black community with a sense of privilege.
That's right.
I've seen black people stop and give white homeless people dollars. I've seen black people ride right past the black person.
I have too.
How do you dismiss your own? Now, I done seen white people ride past white people. But again, if all Fox reports on is the squeegee kids and they never come over here to Pennsylvania Avenue, Sandtown, East Baltimore, and see the other side of ugly. Maybe that's the name of my article. Because I already did a video. It's called White Attic, Black Hood. Charles Robinson was the only one who acknowledged it because he's actually seen it. But that's why we need more of us to write. So let me give you Doug's question. Doug's question was, share with us what motivates you to write.
When I was growing, and I started writing when I was in the 6th grade, because I lived in a family where it was abuse. My stepfather, physical abuse, even my mother, who her choice of drugs was alcoholism. And in order for her to show my stepfather how much she was in his corner, it was that she would abuse me. I've had my wrist broken by my mother when she hit me with a shovel. And my thumb split. My mother. And when I was only sleeping in the bench in the bus station when I was 16. When I went to live in this boarding house, because I had no place else to go, and fighting off soldiers, etc. I started writing because in my writing I could escape. I could be anywhere in the
Either that or
world.
you was going to the penitentiary, because I'm already mad and ready to call you offline and ask where these people at so we can go back and get them.
I wrote because I could be in Africa. I could be this beautiful person sitting on an island enjoying life, etc., etc. I wrote my first play when I was in the eighth grade. Uh, when I was in the seventh grade, I wrote a column called "Smile a While," and I was the editor of the paper, and I could write about anything. And when I was in the ninth grade, we had recess, and people, going around with each other on the school ground at recess, and I'm sitting somewhere in a corner on the ground with a pad and a pencil writing because I wasn't there mentally. You
Have you
know,
ever written a children's book?
that's the one that's coming out now, Herky the Pink Elephant. And there's a
Show
sequel,
off. Who is it?
Herky the Pink Elephant.
Herky.
Uh-huh. And there's also a sequel to that, and I've written a sequel
Wow.
already, and I met with it's funny, but I wanted illustrations in that, and so I've been talking with someone now. I've gone through the past week actually about four different people because they could not capture the image that I have in my mind of Herky. But the one that's coming out now, that's my editor has that one, and she said she will be finished with it in 3 to 4 weeks because she didn't know it was as many pages as it was. She said, "Well, when you gonna stop writing so many pages?" And I wanted it finished by Christmas, but I don't think that I'm gonna get it by Christmas. I think that probably the first of the year, because if she's taken 3 or 4 weeks for me to go back and make the changes, it's going to take me a week, and that's called Grandma's Tales, and that consists of 60 short stories. You know how under the a southern moon in Georgia, my granddaddy used to sit there and tell us ghost stories, or during the when we were growing up, we used to hurry up and finish dishes so I could sit next door with Mr. Johnson, and we rushed to see which one was going to sit next to the grown up so that they start telling these ghost stories, and especially on Friday night when we didn't have to go to school the next day. And then my grandma used to tell stories about when Papa would come back, and I don't know if these stories were true or not. And then some of the stories are from my own imagination. One is called Palani and Ben. Uh, and then there's one called Bridge
Who
Over
the hell is
Troubled Water.
Palani? Where you get
Palani.
these names from?
Actually, there was a woman that used to live next door to my grandmother. We used to call her Aunt Palani. She wasn't my aunt, but she was already in her hundreds when I was a little girl. And I used to go over there and sit there, and she would tell me about her grandmother who were slaves, about things that happened and in her lifetime. So we'd always go over to Aunt Palani. And so I have it's called Palani and Ben, and a slave, she was a slave and Ben was a slave. So I talk about that. And then there is another one I have in there, Bridge Over Troubled Water, when these slaves actually left the South and went to New York and actually put their children through school. That's Bridge Over Troubled Water. And then some of those stories in there are some of the things that happened to me when I lived in projects here in Baltimore.
You lived
You
in the
know,
projects?
1226 South Exeter Street, apartment 4F, Flag Court Projects. Yeah, for 12 years.
See, that's where you get that little streak of violence from.
That's where the bully was, but that's where she was born.
I would imagine so. How
Yeah.
apropos.
And that little girl, you can tell her she was going to fight in school the next day, because when she'd go to school, she'd put on a pair of pants under her dress so that when she get out there and scrap on the playground, if a dress go up, she got on a pair of trousers under the dress, shorts under the dress. So you knew when she was going to fight. She was the smallest one in the group, but she was the scrappiest one in the group.
I met your daughter. Ain't nobody scared of her. Okay, so let me ask this. Let's get back to today's elected officials. So we got to get a manual. Is there a manual when you go to Annapolis?
No.
There's no orientation? Sure there is.
Yeah, we have orientation. You have a week's orientation before session starts.
Well, they should have a week orientation at City Hall. And this is where I was going with
You
this.
don't have written orientation.
It needs to be written down.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these illiterate people. Now, look here. Did you know, maybe you join me on this, between Baltimore and D.C., there are 9 Black college presidents. Shout out to Jeffrey Pope for bringing this to my attention. And I've been talking about it ever since. There are 9 Black college presidents between Baltimore and D.C. What is the role of a Black college president? Because you talk about the politicians, how they have this certain air of erudite distinction. I'm the honorable so-and-so. So do Black people with degrees. I'm Dr. So.
That's right. That's right.
Your name is Squeaky. Your name is Boo Boo. Your name is Lance. I mean, what? I'm Senator so-and-so. Oh, yes, that's stinky.
That's right. That there's a certain arrogance about somebody who's in charge of anything. I found that out. Have you ever gone into a store? And I talk about that in one of my books too. Have you ever gone into a store and you ask for something, and this Black salesperson or Black manager or somebody who just got promoted asks for something? Well, we don't. No, I don't have this. I so and so. It's not your store. This arrogance. Well, I really don't have this, and I don't know if I can get. It's this arrogance of I, and the disrespect that's shown to you if you are Black. And I talk about that in one of the books. I mean, in one of the short stories in Grandma's Fables. How how I went through, but I don't think he'll do that anymore because I came out as a ghetto.
I
gave it back to him the same way. Really gave it back to him.
I gotta ask you this. We got a few more minutes. What do you think when you hear the term? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Critical race theory.
I just wondered if you were going to get to that. I wondered if you were going to get to that.
Because I done heard all of these experts and don't nobody know what it is. To me, it's just repackaging racism.
To me, it's going into the schools and teaching individuals, white folks and Black folks, about your race, which needs to be done anyway. How many Black people, young people now, have no clue about where they came from, how they got there. You know so much about Harriet Tubman and absolutely, about individuals who you're being held, Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, and all about these, but you don't know who started them. You don't go back into history, just like you just said about Aunt Polani. You don't know those of us who have been there. Learn from us. Learn the way that the up on Pennsylvania Avenue, Velma's restaurant and Mahogany and Casino and all of these things. About the Sphinx Club, but you don't know about the mom and dad shops that were there before that. You don't know what happened up in Reservoir Hill, up on over in East Baltimore. You don't know all of those things and I'm just saying just the history in Maryland. So if you don't know the history in Maryland, you certainly don't know the history in my hometown, Alexander City, Alabama. I wrote about that in one of the books, Sleepy Tucker's Cafe. I know you don't know that because that's my hometown. But the young people in that hometown don't know what started this first restaurant that was there, the first movie.
I know about A.G. Gaston down there in Alabama.
Yeah, you know about Gaskin because that he was in Birmingham, Alabama, because one of my relatives married him. So when we went down there,
I want to say 4th Street in Birmingham is where black businesses were, among other places. But
yeah.
okay,
So you don't know anything about your black history, and to me, that's what we should be teaching in school. And it's not only just black history. We don't know anything about other history as well. Oh, we know about white folks, but we don't know about the Latinos and the Hispanics and all of these people um, who make up the definition of minority businesses. You know, Native Americans and women and Latinos and veterans, et cetera, et cetera. We don't know anything about that. But
how do we have a black mayor, a black comptroller? The comptroller black, right?
uh-huh. Yeah,
The
Bill
city
Henry.
council president is black, right?
Uh-huh. But we've had a black comptroller for a long time.
Well, what I'm saying is, why is it we only getting 2% of the contracts? If we got all of the blacks, why don't they see the need to support black business? What am I missing?
I want to talk about
Is
Motorola.
it that the white
Motorola.
man got a gun on him?
No,
That
the
you
white
bet
man
black,
made donations or contributions to your campaign.
and so you forget about black people?
You don't forget about it, you just dismiss them.
No, they should be dismissed and they should go home right now. This is a
Absolutely.
majority black city. Why do we only have R.E. Harrington doing prime contracts?
When I was chair of the Black Caucus, one of the things that I had done was bring in business owners, and they asked to meet with me because they were complaining about Motorola. They're not getting contracts from Motorola, and the same one that was complaining about not getting a percentage of Motorola is the same one that's not getting percentage uh the contract. Now I'll give you 15%, 15% of a $20 million contract. And now, what we're also not doing, we're not paying any attention to the Public Service Commission that says how much percentage you should be getting from from uh, contracts from BG&E and Motorola and telephone company and all of these constructions company that's coming to Baltimore. We are not paying attention to what needs to be done in the community for minority businesses.
Are
What's
we?
happening
No,
at the
I'm
airport?
asking. We have all of the power necessary to create new black millionaires like a Marion Barry, like others. What
Yeah,
is our problem?
nobody's. No, the problem is you are accepting money from individuals who are need you to give them contracts. So if I'm at your fundraiser and if I'm giving you a $200 donation, and you have another company coming in giving you a $6,000 donation, who do you think who's gonna get the contract?
Brian J. Mitchell said, "Your money don't make me do nothing differently." I want to bring to you, listen, you think I'm entertaining? You about to meet a real bona fide entertainer. This is Doug Blackshear. He's from Oakland. Did you know Oakland done lost all the black people? He's the only black person left in Oakland.
Good morning,
Say
Mrs.
hello, Doug.
Good morning, Mrs.
Good
Robinson.
morning. Good
We call
morning.
her Senator. She's being modest. That's Senator Robinson.
Senator, everything you said is perfectly clear and understandable because uh, back here in Oakland, we should be 46% black. Oakland is where the Black Panthers originated from. Oakland is where, back in the 70s and 80s, where the country pattern the government practice and using Black and Black women-owned businesses, but now all that's gone due to gentrification.
That's another one.
And just for example, one of the sponsors of Black Business Roundtable, thank to BlackUSA.News, Donnie Glover, just put $500,000 on the table before she even gets a contract to play with in the game. And that is the reason why the system is so flawed and designed to make sure that Black businesses don't make it. If you don't have any chips to get in the game, you're not going to get in the game.
That's right.
And you still got to wait to get in the game until you get the best hand. But
that's right.
The system
Shirley
is
Chisholm said, if you don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair.
well, Magnolia, and I wish she was here. Tammy Willis, owner of Magnolia Engineering and Construction, and you can Google that too. One of less than 10 Black women engineering companies in the nation, Black woman owned. But she has all the skills. Worked for the Department of Justice. Just was assigned to the Bay Area Rapid Transit auditing team, and we have to literally fight. We have to fight the government, the city, the county, for them to come in, for her to get a contract. Second, there is a group of Black investors. It's called the African American Sports and Entertainment Group, who are trying to be the first and have their own money, all Black money, to be the first African American group to own an NFL team. They have to fight to even, like you said, sit at the table, and they brought their own folding table. They have a banker, they have sports agents, they have a host of people who are fostering this great idea. But the
Doug,
NFL,
I thought you wanted to ask the lady question. See, this is a 1 hour show. You about to get bumped. Nigga, ask her your question, man. We out of here at 11 o'clock.
Robinson, I'm not a big writer. Can you tell me what initiated, what excited you to start writing and keep writing? Thank you.
You know, as I said, the reason I started writing, it was to escape the life that I was living, the life of abuse and the life of hurt. It was to escape, because by writing, I could be wherever I wanted to be. I could get lost in my words. And so when I first started writing, I wrote to heal. But now I will write for the sheer the enjoyment of writing, because I just think that there's so much that I want to say. I've lived a long life.
Oh, you're a young girl. Stop that. Listen,
I,
here,
I,
Doug. Doug,
and I want to leave the messages that I've learned along the way. And we are not just monolithic. We're not just one person. You know, we're so many people. So I can't write like Toni Morrison. I can't write a novel, but I can write about life. So,
okay.
and that's what we all need to understand, that we write about what we know, and that's my life.
Oh, this is what I want you to tell Doug about what you know. Tell him how you became a millionaire.
I started in the basement of my home with an unemployment check. And I started going to the state office to find out what kind of businesses could I write a proposal for. So I have so many rejections, but every rejection was a learning experience. So then I created one company to provide training and development, and I started using all of that information. I was deputy administrator of the district court, the circuit court, and the Supreme Bench, the first woman and the first Black in the history of the court. And I also integrated the restrooms in the court system. And I started women being able to wear their natural hairstyle, started Black women, and women being able to wear slacks. So I took all of that information, plus I'm a street folks. You know, I can talk to you about pimps and prostitutes and uppers and downers and quaaludes and purple haze and homelessness. I've been there. So I used all of that information and started a business to help individuals who were coming behind me, folks on welfare. I was on welfare. And when the uh, state started sending people into the homes, taking people out of mental institutions and out of nursing homes, etc. They were sending those into nonprofits. Well, I was operating a for-profit, so I created a nonprofit in order to uh, write contracts for that population of people. Well, that population of people needed to be taken care of, and they needed trained people to be taken care of. So my for-profit company started training folks on welfare how to take care of people in my nonprofit company. Well, that nonprofit people in the nonprofit needed transportation, so I bought a fleet of vans and then started a transportation company to provide transportation for them. Well, they needed a place to live and they needed special housing, with wheelchair accessibility and in different neighborhoods. So then I bought houses and leased the houses. One of my companies purchased the houses and leased the houses back to my other company. And one of my company owned the vans and leased those vans back to my other company. So then I started writing, and then I didn't want anybody to handle that when I saw how much money that my publisher was getting. Then I created a publishing company under one of my other companies. And then when I saw how much money I was spending in rent, etc., then I bought my building to house all of my stuff. Um, but the government came after me. I've gone. This one judge said, "I don't know whether you are a Martha Stewart or Oprah Winfrey, but you can't fight the government when they try to uh, force me out of business." And so I've gone to court several times, and I wrote about that in one of the books. And the government came in and said that I owed $2 million in back pay, and then they said I owed $1.5 million, and then it went down to $1 million. Then it was 800, but when it got down to a half a million, 500 something thousand, I wrote them a check. And then when I wrote him a check, then that's when I also put up money to run for uh, House of Delegates. Before I became a senator, I was in the House of Delegates for 10 years because I knew that there were so many Black women or minority businesses that could not be able to take that kind of a financial hit and still survive. I mean, they actually sent in, when I said they, this was the U.S. Department of Labor, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Department of Licensing and Certification, Department of Disability Administration, sent in 9 attorneys from Philadelphia to fight this one Black gal who I was sitting there with one attorney and he was pro bono. So I can take you back to all of those things. And I'm writing about that. That's one of the books that's coming out, and it's called Because I'm Black. I talk about that in that book, you know. So that's what I say when I say that I write about my life, because I've gone through so many different genres. My publisher asked me, well, what do you want to be known as? What kind of writer? Because I've done an autobiography, and I've done a love, and I've done poems. I've done one book about death and dying. And I do a podcast now once a month, Death and Dying from Nigeria, widows and widowers in Nigeria. So I told my publisher I wanted to be known as a heck of a writer. I want to write about everything that I've lived. And that's what my other 13 books that I have. I have one that's called Life's Lesson. I have one that's called God is My Co-Pilot. One, Healing the Wounded Heart. Grandma's Favorite, Because I'm Black, Hallelujah Anyhow, Hercules the Pink Elephant, and then I have another that Hercules Saves My Baby Bear. I'm doing one called Moonlight and Murder. I'm telling you, I'm writing what I want to write.
You've been
I have
watching
one that's
too
coming
much.
out called Hope,
You've been watching too
Hope.
much CSI.
Huh?
You've been watching too much CSI.
You know, I watch a lot of television now because this is the first time that I've had a chance to stay up as long as I want to watch television, because I've always had a schedule that I needed to be somewhere the next day, or somebody is expecting me the next day. But now I go to bed when I want. I go to bed maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, if I go at all, because sometimes I stay up all night writing. It's just like I just need to get these things out because I don't know how long God is going to keep me here.
You ain't going nowhere.
That's what my son said. My son said, when the world is gone, you're going to see Barbara Robinson and roaches.
Senator, may I say this?
Uh-huh.
It sounds like you are unique specifically in the Black community because you utilize the government's resources to expand, and where you saw opportunity,
Mhm,
you pounced on it.
mhm.
I'm in Sacramento now, Donnie. Going to meet with some state legislators in regards to, just to let you know, Donnie, Kathy Adams of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, she just made me the ambassador for creating more opportunity in the city of Oakland with the four.
So watch this. Senator Robinson helped create the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce here. Now, Senator, this lady he's talking about, Kathy Adams, they raised how much? $1 million?
$1.2 million in the pandemic.
They raised 1.2 million to help their businesses.
Mm.
That's why I'm in love with Doug, with Kathy, with the Oakland African American Chamber, because I want to see the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber raise 1.4, 1.9, $2.5 million to help our businesses here. So any final thoughts, Senator? And
Well,
by the way, he will be calling you. You might as well give him your number now because he's gonna find you.
email me, Barbara4025@Verizon.net. You can also go to my website, www.barbararobinson.info.
Let me get that email address again.
Barbara4025@Verizon.net. That's Barbara, BARBARA 4025@Verizon.net.
The website.
www.barbararobinson.info.
Senator, we're so proud of you. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for grooming me, forgiving me,
And
blessing
loving
me,
you.
pimp slapping me. I don't take too kindly to all of that, but I'll let you get away with murder. Here's her information right here, Doug, in case you didn't get it.
I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm working on that writing part. I'm going to start thinking about what you said because I don't do nearly as much writing as I should.
A great talker, though.
Oh, I'll talk. I'll talk it.
You
I'll
talk
talk.
the ears off, huh?
But what you said is so true. And once we finish and clean up Oakland, I'm going to bring the same road show to Baltimore because Baltimore, we've adopted it as our sister city, and we need to develop coast to coast. There's a way to do it, but we have to do it as a team. There's no I in team. So thank Donnie Glover, and thank you for whooping his butt because he is doing an amazing job out here in Oakland, California on the West Coast. His name is going to become synonymous with Black empowerment. Thank you, Donnie.
Absolutely. I love you, Donnie. I love you, Donnie, because you stand if you have to stand alone. And when you stand and people see you standing alone, they gravitate to you because they
Right.
know that you're standing alone because you're standing for a purpose. And the purpose is your truth. And when you can stand in that, regardless of what others say about you, they said nobody can ride your back unless it's bent, and you don't bend. So I love you for that.
Have a beautiful day, everybody. Good morning, world.
Absolutely.
Doug's up tonight, 7
And
o'clock.
nice to meet you, Doug.
I can assure you we'll be meeting again because I'm going to kick Oakland in the butt government wise, and I'm going to take some of the stuff you said, winning here, and then we're coming back to Baltimore. And I already know there's a team out there that I'll be joining to help do the same thing out there. Thank you both.
Absolutely.
God
Absolutely.
bless.
God
Good
bless.
morning, world.
Good
Thank
morning,
you,
world.
Senator.
Absolutely. Thank you.